name's Rebecca Richardson, but most people call me Becky, and welcome to my first official book haul. Book hauls aren't something I've properly done yet. Obviously, I've talked about books I've bought in like other videos, but I haven't done one that's specifically a book haul until now. That is because I don't actually buy too many books. I tend to buy books as I read them, and I'll think, oh, I'm reading this next. After I've read this book, I'll then go buy that one, and then if I like that one, I'll buy the next. So I don't tend to find myself in a position where I'm just naturally buying lots of books. So there wasn't a point in me doing like monthly book hauls or anything, just because I'm not buying enough books to really like warrant a video. However, I have sort of accumulated enough over the summer to do a summer book haul. Now, by summer, I'm kind of talking like June, July, August time. I do have 2 collector's editions of books that I thought I'd start with before we get into like the other books kind of thing. Hello, Editing Becky here. My camera deleted the next 10 seconds of footage, so I thought I'll just fill it in like this. One day we'll get through a video without something being deleted. But the first book that I bought in this summer was the collector's edition of Six of Crows. However, it is like a defect copy. It is printed back to front and upside down, so when you open it the correct way, well, you'll see that the next footage is actually me showing you what the book looks like when you open it with the correct front, so I'll just let you get back to that. That is what happens when you open the book the right way around. Front cover. Inside, if you can't tell, that is the back, the artwork at the back, and the bit about the author that is at the back of the book. And it's upside down, so... But that is the correct way to open the book, which is why I've been holding it like this, because if you open it this way, you'll see you get the map at the beginning, everything written the correct way around, because that is the beginning of the book, which should be there. I knew this before I bought this copy of Six of Crows, but I kind of had to get it anyway because it just made it 10 times better, because I opened it and was like, maybe it's supposed to be like this, maybe it's I don't know, they're being edgy or something. And I spoke to the guy at the counter and he was like, no, it's definitely not supposed to be like that, I can take it off you. And I was like, oh no, I want it like that. So yeah, I'm very proud of this. I don't know why. People keep saying that if the show does well and things, this could be worth quite a bit in some years. But I don't think I could sell it. I think I'm quite happy just to keep it with me forever. The second and last collector's edition that I've bought over this summer is the collector's edition of Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare. I haven't got any of the other books in this cover. I know that at least the Dark Artifices and Red Scrolls of Magic have these covers, but let's be honest, they're very expensive, and so I never bought the Lady Midnight or Lord of Shadows ones. This I just happened to see for a slightly cheaper price not that long ago. And it was the only copy there, and I was like, you know what, whilst I'm here, I'm just going to get it. Which is quite funny, because Queen of Air and Darkness isn't even close to one of my favourite Shadowrunner Chronicles books. So yeah, I now have 4 different editions of it, and I don't have that for any of the other books. But I just thought whilst it was there, I might as well get it. I would like to see, though, if I can find the Lady Midnight and Lord of Shadows editions, but there's a good chance that they probably don't exist anymore, because I know they only had a limited amount, I believe. But if you know somewhere where I can get my hands on them in the UK, then please do leave it in the comments, because I would like to try and find them. But this is so pretty. I wasn't too bothered about them at first because of the price, and also because I wasn't too certain on the covers, but looking at them now, I actually quite like them with all of the runes on them, and they sparkles and that. I keep trying to move it in the hopes that you'll see the sparkle, but I don't think it's gonna work. I also like that there's no dust jacket, it's just straight onto the cover, because dust jackets do my absolute head in, and I always take them off anyway, so this is great, which I probably wouldn't end up reading this version, but it's pretty chill anyway. And also it is, I don't know if you can see that this is so heavy, it's signed inside, which is cool as well. I have another copy of Queen of Air and Darkness that's personalised as well, so I just have a whole collection now of different versions of this book. But that is it for the collector's editions, and now we're on to books, actual books that I'm going to read or have already read that I bought this summer. Like I said, some of them I've already read them since I bought them, some of them I haven't yet got round to, and some of them I don't really know anything about at all. The first book is Ghosts of the Shadow Market by Cassandra Clare. I did a whole video about this a while back. The quality on it was terrible, yet it's got over 800 views now, so I don't know what's going on there. Ghosts of the Shadow Market is about Jem Carstairs from the Infernal Devices series, and it is sort of a bind up of short stories or slash novellas about him and his journey from becoming a silent brother through to present day, after Queen of Air and Darkness time. I might be slightly biased in talking about this because Jem Carstairs, I love him so much. So, there might be a bit of bias on my half, but I did really enjoy this. There was a few of the stories that I wasn't too big a fan of, mainly because Jem wasn't really in them, but also because I thought they were either a bit basic or they weren't what I was expecting them to be, or in some cases they were a bit too complicated. There was one that I thought kind of ended very abruptly, but then there was other stories in this that were my favourite short stories I read from Cassandra Clare, two of them being A Deeper Love and The Land I Lost, but also so many more. Other than, I'd say there was two stories in this that I didn't particularly enjoy that much. The rest of them were all great stories. I also quite enjoy being able to see more into Jem and like his time as a Siler brother, because there was so much to work with there and we didn't get to see any of it. So I did like seeing into his head and seeing more of the conflicts he went through, because I think Jem Carstairs quite often is seen as a very two-dimensional character, and I think it's mainly because whereas there's a lot of focus, especially in the Infernal Devices, there's a lot of focus on, you know, Will's woes and like Tessa's woes, we don't ever really get to see much of how Jem feels because he keeps everything very much to himself, whereas especially Will was always quite open about the fact that he was sad about a lot of things. So I did quite like being able to see into his head and see his perspective on things and the actual struggles that he went through. It was nice to actually be able to read that instead of just having to guess at what he probably felt. So I would say if you are a fan of the Shadowhunter Chronicles and you've read all the other books, definitely do pick this up, because again, I might be slightly biased, but I did really enjoy this. The next book I bought this summer is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. This is one of those books that I don't know much about. I nearly didn't pick it up at all when I saw people talking about it, because for some odd reason I thought it was contemporary, and I don't tend to read contemporary. And so I was like, I saw the cover and was like, that looks really cool. And then I don't know whether I heard somebody say something and assumed that whatever they said meant it was a contemporary book or something, but I just like decided not to pick it up. But then not too long ago I heard people mention that it is in fact high fantasy, and not only that it's high fantasy, but apparently it's not set in your usual like medieval Europe that every high fantasy book is set in, which instantly intrigued me, because I would quite like to read about high fantasy settings that aren't just like England but with dragons. I don't even really know much about the plot of this, so there isn't much I can say about it. There isn't even like a blurb. There's like 3 lines, a very intriguing 3 lines, but not a blurb. So I don't want to look it up because reviews tend to be spoilery, so I'm just going to go into this blind at some point. I was hoping to have read this by now, to be honest. I was going to read this after my Clockwork Angel reread, but it took me a month to do that Clockwork Angel reread, so I never got around to this. So this will probably either be the very end of this year or more likely now next year, but I am looking forward to getting to it eventually. The next book I bought is The Boneless Mercies by April Genevieve Tuschulk. I'm sorry if I just butchered her name, because I'm quite good at doing that. Again, I don't know much about this book. It was actually the guy in Waterstones who sold this to me. We got into a very long conversation about several books, and then I felt bad not buying one, so I just picked the one that A, I didn't already have plans to buy, and B, sounded interesting. All I really know of this is that there are women in it that kill people, and I love female assassins so much. As soon as he was like, how do you feel about female assassins? I was like, say no more. You don't have to tell me anything else. I'll have it, thank you. So that's all I know about this. It's women who kill people, and apparently they don't have bones or something. So again, this is another one that I don't like have a specific time where I'm like, after I've read these books, I'll read that. It'll just be a case of when I get round to it and I'm like in the mood for something like this, I'll probably end up picking it up. The next book that I bought over the summer was Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. So I'm having quite a funny relationship at the moment with Shadow and Bone. I haven't read it yet. I don't know too much about the plot, but I have read Six of Crows, and everybody says that Six of Crows is better, and everything I do know about the plot doesn't sound overly appealing to me. I am going to read it because the TV show's coming out, and I loved Six of Crows, and I actually really want to read King of Scars because Nikolai was only in Crooked Kingdom for like half a second, but he made himself an icon instantly, and so I really want to read King of Scars. I'm yet to hear good things about Shadow and Bone. All I know really is that it follows a girl called Alina who finds out that she has these powers and that she's this great person, and I'm assuming there's some sort of war in it. Basically, all I've heard is that it's like 50 YA tropes summed into one book. The reason I'm putting it off so long is because it does, by the sounds of it, include 2 of my least favourite tropes, which are love triangles and The Chosen One. So yeah, and just to make it even better, I found out literally like yesterday that apparently one of the men in this love triangle is the best friend, which is even worse. I cannot stand love triangles where you have the best friend like, but I've known you my whole life. Like, I haven't even started it, and I can already feel it getting on my nerves. That is why I'm yet to start this book. But I will eventually, because I want to watch the TV show and I want to read King of Scars. I do think, by the sounds of it, it's going to be a case which most fantasy books are for me. The majority of YA fantasy books, I don't like any of the main characters, and the side characters are all the best people I've ever met in my life. So that's what I'm expecting. That's why I'm a bit hesitant, I think, to read it, because I've been trying to move away from cliche YA, and this, by the sounds of it, is exactly the kind of cliche YA I've been trying to move away from. But I guess I do have to dip back in time a little bit if I want to watch the TV show and then read King of Scars. So I will get to this eventually. It's only short, it's like 300 pages, and then there's like 2 more, which hopefully aren't too long. I will get to them, I will read them. The second to last book that I bought this summer, I well, technically didn't buy, but came to own this summer, is Wicked Fox by Kat Cho. This came in my July Fairy Loot box, which I literally just got my hands on the other day, and I will say when I opened it, the first thing I saw wasn't the book, it was the character art on top, which I don't have to hand right now, but in that picture it's the 2 main characters who are on the front, and she has a quite clear tail, and I looked at it and my first thought was, furries? That was it. I just looked at it and was like, we're allowed furries in YA fiction now. No, that's not what it is. I believe from what I've read about this and from reading the author interviews and things in the Fairy Loot box that it is based on Korean mythology. The story is set in Seoul, and the main character is sort of a creature of Korean mythology, in which she actually is a 9-tailed fox who, something to do with like eats the souls of men or something to like stay alive. That bit sounds great. That was what got me. The first bit, when it was like, she's a fox, I was like, and then it was like, who eats men? And I was like, great. I'm down for that. It's kind of on the same theme as Female Assassins, I guess, in like an odd way. So I am looking forward to reading this after having that moment of shock where I was like, Jesus, that's a fairy, but it's not. That's not what this is. So I am actually looking forward to getting to this. Again, this is another one that I don't have like a plan of a time when I want to get to it. It just kind of will fit into my life at some point. I was really excited because it is all set around Korean mythology, and it's set in Seoul, I believe, and I've never read anything set in Korea. In fact, I don't think I've ever read anything set in Asia, like in general, the continent. So this will be hopefully very interesting. Again, we're getting away from medieval Europe. So yeah, I am looking forward to getting to this at some point in the future, hopefully. And the final book that I've bought this summer is Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. Again, I don't know too much about Heartstopper. All I know is that it's a very cute, fluffy romance story, and that's exactly what I'm here for at the moment. I'm having a bit of a fantasy slump, and so cute, fluffy romance is kind of what I was looking for, and I saw everybody talking about this, and I was like, you know what, yeah. I've also never read a graphic novel before, so I'm really excited about that. I'm like just past like the prologue-y bit in this, like he's just entered the classroom, basically, like that first very short bit, and so far I really like the art style and just like the wording of it. I was concerned about graphic novels because I didn't know if I could get into the world as well, but I have found that it's actually really easy to immerse yourself in it anyway. So I am really looking forward to continuing with this when I have a time, because now I have to reread City of Bones before I can continue reading this. But when I do get around to it, I am really looking forward to getting through this, because it does seem like quite an easy read that I could just like sit in the sun and get done. So yeah, I'm quite looking forward to sort of moving outside of my bookish comfort zone and reading this. So that is it. That is all of the books that I have bought this summer. I still have quite a few to get round to, but the majority of them I like know when I'm going to read them. Other ones I'll get to when I get to them. I suppose now I've gone on about Shadow and Bone, after I finish the series, whenever that is, I'm going to have to talk about my opinion on Shadow and Bone. I feel like we're leaving this on a cliffhanger. Like, what is she going to think of it, really? But I will get to it sometime. But that is all from me for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon. Bye!